just hold that there for a second. As I said, the last time that I spoke here was a number of weeks ago on Mission Sunday, and we talked about life on mission, about living your life on purpose, living your life on mission, for a purpose. And we took our reading from Matthew chapter 28, where Jesus calls the disciples together, and then he gives them what's known in the Bible as the Great Commission, the co-mission, the mission of God, the mission of Jesus. And Jesus says to them, therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, and baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And he says, I will be with you. He gives them this instruction, this command, this commission to go. Go live your life on mission. Go preach the gospel. Go make disciples. Go heal the sick. Go feed the poor. Go and do all of these things in my name. Go and baptize people in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And he gives them this command to go. Go live your life on mission. This is a command of Jesus. And Jesus spent 3 years calling people to himself. He spent 3 years calling disciples and gathering a following. And he calls people to himself. He invites people, come, follow me. Come be with me. Come get relationship with me. And he spends all of these years calling them to himself and equipping them to go. Coming to Jesus is only one part of the Christian life. Coming to Jesus is only one part of the Christian walk, of this journey. The coming is only step one. We are called to come in order to go. He calls us, he equips us, and he sends us out. Go live your life on mission. And this is what Jesus did, is he called the disciples to himself. And then he equips them. They follow him for 3.5 years. And then he gathers them on a mountain and he tells them to go. He then sends them out. And we are very good at the coming. We're very good at all at coming to the cross, at coming to church, at coming to sing, at coming to pray. But maybe we're not so good at the going. Maybe we're not so good at the living our lives on mission. And I think that the last time that one of the biggest issues, one of the biggest detriments or enemies of church growth, one of the biggest things facing the Western church today is apathy and indifference. Indifference, just, whatever, we don't really care. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, I might go, I might not go. I don't really know. I'll see how I feel on the night. I'll allow my Christian walk to be determined by feelings and by emotions instead of by, as John Andrews spoke and as Jackie has referred to, truth, the truth of his word. And so we come with a purpose and intention of going, and we are called to mission. We come to the cross, we find forgiveness, and we receive redemption. But then we are to move to mission. We are to move to mission. And so those are some of the things that I shared with you the last time that I was speaking on this platform. And so I want to continue on this theme of life on mission, this theme of go. And in Matthew chapter 13, Jesus shares a parable, a story. And we will have preached on this here before, and you will know this story very well. It's the parable of the sower. And he talks about how a farmer goes out to sow seed. And as he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and birds ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. When the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew and choked up the plants. Verse 8 says, still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop 100, 60, and 30 times what was sown. So you will know this parable, you will know this story about a farmer spreading seed, and how that it falls in different locations. There is never an issue with the seed. The seed represents the Word of God. There's always an issue with where the seed falls. The seed that is sown and that falls in the path is the exact same seed that falls on the good soil. It's the same seed. The difference is where the seed lands. And we can be in church, and some people can be in this message today, hearing this message today and go, I didn't get much from that today. And others can be, wow, that really spoke to me. Some people can come to a worship event and, I didn't really feel the presence today. And others can even go, oh, wow, the presence was so strong. And we can be in the exact same environment and yet get different responses and different results. The seed was the exact same that fell on the path, on the stony ground, as what fell on the good soil. Jesus goes on and he explains the parable to the disciples. And he begins to explain, when anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their heart. This seed is the seed that was sown along the path. Verse 20, the seed falling on rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word at once, receives it with joy, but since they have no root, they only last a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. Verse 22, the seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of this life, the deceitfulness of wealth, choke the word, making it unfruitful. But the seed, verse 23, says it falls on good soil, refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop yielding 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. The exact same seed, different ground, different results. Our vision statement, or a part of our vision statement, is that we don't want to just see people saved, but our vision statement says that they will become full, mature believers in Jesus Christ. It's not just about getting people saved, but seeing us grow and develop to full maturity of faith in Jesus Christ. This, I believe, is what this passage is talking about. It talks about people who can put their hand up and pray a sinner's prayer and pray a prayer of salvation, but within a week they're gone. Or the people and they maybe last for a number of months or even a number of years, but at some point something comes in and, as James said, distracts them. And they focus on the distractions and they fall away. And there are different outcomes. Same seed, but different outcomes. And I believe that God's intention, God's plan, and God's purpose for us is that we grow and we develop and we mature, producing a crop of 100-fold, of 60-fold, or of 30-fold. That is a mature Christian. It's not just someone who has been saved for 30 years, for 40 years, or whatever. That's not the definition of a mature Christian. What is the fruit? What are they producing in their lives? Would be more of a definition of a mature Christian. And our calling as Christians and as this church is not just to see people saved, but to make disciples. To make disciples. This is part of the commission. Go and make disciples. And the parable of the sower is about growth and about reproduction. And so what's that got to do with life on mission? And I believe that it's all very much connected. I've shared some of my story. Well, I've shared all of my story, but if I can just talk from my experience with you for just a few minutes, because it's the only thing that I have that I could talk about other people, but I want you to hear that. I want you to hear my heart, and I want you to hear what I'm about to share with you is something that I've lived out and something that I have experienced. This is what I have gone through. This is my journey. And I shared how that at the age of 16, how that I was in a dark place. And there were three major things that happened. Two might not seem significant, but they were because of where I was in life at that time. But it led me to a dark place in 1992. Whenever one of my best friends was shot and killed, it was Andy. And then the church that I had grown up in, of which he was pastor of in Ballysillan for 10 years, he was leaving that church to go and go full-time into stadium projects. And then there were significant changes because he was leaving, and there were changes already happening within that church. It kind of began to disintegrate. And the things that I was attached to, the people that I was attached to, it all seemed to, in many ways, kind of disintegrate in 1992. Not only, so there was a church that I was a part of for 10 years that I grew up in from 6 to 16. We then moved house away from the environment and the friends that I had grown up in, also from I was 6 to 16. And it may not seem as much, when I didn't recognize it at the time, but whenever I can look back, I can see how that had a major impact on my life. And it brought me to a place where, even though I believed in God, I didn't believe that God believed in me. And I was struggling. And at the age of 17, a few weeks ago, while I was sunning myself in Spain, and you like my tan, yeah? It washed off in the shower. we were actually, I think we were on a cycle ride from Salou to Cambrils in the gorgeous sunshine, and then we come back to atrocious rain. And you were celebrating 30 years of New Life City Church. It started in 1993. I was 17 years of age, but prior to that, we were down in Townsend Street. And there were moments there that actually, in many ways, saved me. I didn't have what I would call this intimate, as James spoke about, this passionate relationship with God. I don't think I had basically any relationship with God. But the fact that we went to Townsend Street gave me connection to other fellas, to other guys, approximately my same age. One is Paul Hansi, sitting at the back there with Leslie, his wife. And I got to connect with people like Hansi and Margaret McCurley's sons, Jason and Craig, and Darren McWilliams and others. And it gave me connection. And in those moments, and we could share some stories of just good, fun times that we had together. Stories and memories that I will hold on to for the rest of my life. And those just being around those guys, Harry Burrows, Joe Burrows as well. Oh, so many good times down at Hillsborough Bible Week. And what happened at Hillsborough Bible Week stays at Hillsborough Bible Week. So that's the motto, okay? So we won't be sharing any stories of that. And there was just moments of connection that you don't realize until maybe years later just how much that meant and how much that actually saved you and how much that carried you through. And I will be forever indebted to guys that were just guys. It wasn't that we were trying to help each other, but just being around guys like that actually really shaped me, formed me, and just that connection. And so if I can talk to you about growth for just a second, because I believe that growth is very much connected to going and connection. Those connections in those at the age of 17 really helped me. I don't think those guys will ever have any idea how much that really helped me. The starting of New Life City Church, although I didn't have a part to play in it, and I was there, and I was coming every Sunday, and I was involved, in just being there. But it was the connections with people that really helped me. It wasn't until the age of 19. You see, connection with other people will carry you so far. Your connection with God, the truth of God's word, is actually what will take you into your destiny. And so I'm thankful for the connections I had with these other guys, but I really desperately needed connection with God, and I sought that, but very often, in fact, I wasn't getting that. Until the age of 19, I've shared many times in Canada, I had this God moment where God met with me. And that is what transformed and changed my life, revolutionized my life at the age of 19. It's why I'm standing on this platform today, because of something that happened in June 1995 in Toronto, Canada. so I needed that God moment, but that was what changed me. But here's the thing. I kind of made a deal with God at that moment. And I said, okay, God, because it was like there was a number of things happened over a period of 2 weeks while I was away. And I said, God, if this is you doing this, then it can't be just for the sake of coming to church. It can't be just for the sake of being another number in church and of filling a seat. There has to be more to it. I was desperate for purpose. And that was what God was giving to me. And so I made a declaration and I took responsibility for my growth. One of the things that really helped me grow was a month later at Hillsborough Bible Week, one of an Elam pastor who did kids work at the time, his name was Jim Bailey. And Jim Bailey, we had a relationship with him, a really great relationship with him, fantastic guy. And so he said, does anybody want, from New Life, can you just come and help me? And I said, yeah, I'll go. I'm not interested in kids work. I just wanted to get involved. I made a deal with God that I just want to serve. I just want to get involved. Whatever it is. And so out of relationship with Jim, I said, yeah, I want to do this here. And so I helped Jim throughout that week. And it was life-changing for me more than anything. And that helped me grow. Because I growed. Because I went. Because I took that step. It wasn't like I didn't at that stage, and sometimes there's not much of a need. People, you invite people to be involved in something. Oh, well, let me go and pray about it. Sometimes you don't need to pray. Sometimes you just need to see a need and say, yeah, I'm going to do it. It was 1 week out of my life. I was young. I was 19 years of age. What else was it going to do? And I said, yeah, Jim, I'd be involved. And it changed me. It helped me grow just because I said yes to something. But I was committed to my growth. I was taking responsibility for my growth. And I would spend many a night, many a weekend, a Saturday night, sitting in my bedroom where I had a table and I had a Bible open, and I would just study. I become so hungry for God. I had changed so much that was what I was doing. And I took responsibility for my growth. Please hear my heart on this. Please hear my heart on this. Seed fell in New Life City Church. New Life Fellowship as it was then. Seed was scattered in New Life City Church. The same seed, and yet there have been different results down through the years. 30 years later, I'm a pastor in this church. I'm not a pastor, and I don't say this because I feel like I need to. Believe me, I'm comfortable in what God has called me to. I'm not pastor in this church because I'm his son. If anything, that's a reason for me to go. I'm pastoring this church because I committed myself to growth, and I took steps toward growing. I took responsibility, and God called me. The very reason why I'm standing here is because God has called me to this. But I had to take responsibility for my growth. I have never once felt the need to leave New Life City Church to go to another church in order to grow. 17 years of age, and I've grown. I've grown. I've grown because of the seed that was scattered in this church. Never once felt the need. Oh, I've got to go somewhere else. If I'm gonna make it, if I'm gonna grow, if I'm gonna be someone, if I'm gonna be this, if I'm gonna be that, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna do that. I never once felt that need. I always believed and always have done and always will that the Holy Spirit is in this place. And that I am responsible for my growth. You are responsible for your growth. One of the ways to grow is to connect with the right people. I had the right guys around me at that point in time. At the age of 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I had the right people around me. Brilliant, amazing guys that I love. At the age of 19, I had this amazing experience where God spoke to me. But I then had to take responsibility for my growth. I had to take responsibility, and you've got to take responsibility for your growth. But I also had to give myself to something bigger. I had connection with other people. I had connection with God. But I had to give myself to something bigger. And honestly, from that, in June 1995, God spoke to me. In July 1995, I'm helping Jim Bailey, ministering to children, doing kids' work that I'm not interested in, but I just want to serve and I just want to be involved. And from that day and hour, I have always, for 30 years, been involved in ministry. Be it youth ministry, be it pastoring, whatever it is, events, youth events. What a journey that God has brought me on. And I thank God for the last 30 years of New Life City Church, but I thank Him for what's to come. I thank Him for the next 30 years and for what God is going to continue to do in this place. And I'm responsible for my growth, to connect with others, to connect with Him, to connect through His Word, to connect through worship, and to connect through mission, to go, to take steps of faith and get involved. And I've always been involved, and the next thing that I'm involved in is this Come and See event in the Waterfront Hall. I'm excited about it and about what God is going to do there. And I believe that we grow when we go. Whenever we give ourselves to something bigger, whenever we give ourselves to mission, then we will grow. You will not grow just staying doing the same thing over and over and over again. I believe that God has called us to reproduce. That He has called us to grow, to develop, and to bear fruit, to reproduce. And one of the ways I believe that can happen is we grow whenever we go, whenever we step out, away from that which we are comfortable with, away from our apathy, away from our indifference, and whenever we begin to serve others, whenever we give ourselves to something bigger than ourselves. Challenge yourself, church. Challenge yourself to become something, to become part of something that's bigger than you. Challenge yourself to become something that will stretch you, to become part of something that will stretch you. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a strain, but it is going to be so worth it. Worship team, come. Jesus lived His life on mission. His mission was to seek and to save the lost, and He invites us to join His mission. I think that is absolutely incredible. That Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God, invites us to partner with Him in His mission to see the world saved, redeemed, reconciled, sanctified. Jesus is still on a mission to save this world, and He invites us. He says, will you join me? Come and partner with me in my mission. Some people ask me where I get ideas from for my sermons. Believe it or not, this second part, the development, I had no plans to go on to developing, living life on mission, and we're going to be hanging around the word go over the next, I don't know how long. But I really want to motivate you, challenge you, inspire you, help you see what's inside of you, what God has placed inside of you, and to bring that out. And some people ask, well, where do you get some of the ideas, for your messages? And some people think it's out of hours of study. It's not. This one came from a roller coaster in Spain. We've been to Salou. I think this is probably our 4th time. And there's a theme park in Salou called Portaventura. I know that some of you will have probably been there, and there is this roller coaster there called the Shambhala. Some of you may have seen my videos. The Shambhala has, I think it's the biggest drop in Europe. I think it's like 110 meters. I can't remember exactly. And something you got to know about my 2 boys. My eldest, Judah, he'll be 16 in November. Judah would have a risk assessment for everything that he does in life. Judah, if he was allowed to, would sit down with a pen and paper and weigh out the risks before he does anything. Eli's nuts. Eli's crazy. Eli will just go and just do it and just doesn't care. Has always been that way. And so within this theme park, you've got Judah had opportunities to do this before, and he's like, no, I'm not doing it. And there's this one ride. It's called like the Condor, and it's something like an 85-meter drop. You're just lifted up into just ridiculous. Me and Eli did this. And it lifts you up. It takes roughly 50, I kind of counted, it takes roughly 57 seconds to lift you up and 2 seconds to drop you. And you're lifted away up, and it's the scariest thing that I've done in my life. I'm still traumatized by it. The both of us are. And you're kind of locked in, and then you're lifting up and up and up and up and up, and you're kind of like, okay, that's enough, okay, that's enough, okay, that's enough. I'm not a great fan of heights. I don't know why I do these things. I like to challenge myself. And it lifts you up and up and up and up, and you're just looking right over Sulu. And you can't describe the feeling. It's something that you have to experience for yourself. And I don't like it. I hate it. I hate it. And sometimes, I've got my eyes closed and I force myself to open just to look. And I'm afraid, I'm scared. And it tilts forward a bit. And it's the scariest thing that you can do. And then out of nowhere, without even before you even get a chance to think, the thing just drops. And in an instant, you're dropping at 70 miles an hour down to the ground. And me and Eli get off, and honestly, both of our hearts are pounding and our legs are shaking. I kid you not. And so we go up to do the Shambhala. And the thing that as I said, I'm not a great fan of heights. The thing that I hate about the roller coasters is the start bit where you go up. I hate that bit because you just seem to go up and up and up and up and up and up, and there just doesn't seem to be an end. Okay, that's enough. Okay, that's enough. Okay, that's enough. Okay, please stop. That's high enough, and it scares me. And then there's the drop, and you can see the videos. I should have showed them today, but as we're queuing up, we all queued up and saying to Judah and Eli, you got to do this here. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love this. I said, listen, I know it looks scary, and whenever you're ascending, that's the scary part. But I promise you, if you do this, you will want to do this again. I promise you, if you get on this with me and you do this, you will want to do this again. Judah, I promise, I know, but if you can do this, then you will begin to ask yourself the question, why did I not do this sooner? And you'll want to do it again. And we're queuing up, and I'm trying not to put too much emphasis on it because Judah doesn't like that. And as we're queuing up, me and Eli is just ready to go, and Judah's giving it this bit. And I recorded him, and I couldn't talk to him because he wouldn't like that there, I didn't want to be distracting him. And he's giving it the two-step. And I'm wondering in my mind, will he do it? I wonder, because Eli had no issues with Eli. Eli wouldn't even want the strap around him, we don't need a strap, let's just do this here. And Judah's, and we're the next ones to get on. Judah says, no. He queued up. He got the whole way to the front and the opportunity to get on to the roller coaster, and says, no. Me and Eli get on, and we're right at the very back. And I don't like it because the ascension, the going up part, I hate it. And as we're going up, and if you see the video, I think maybe both occasions, I cover my eyes and I rub my head, and because I really don't like it. But I had to challenge myself. And you have to be a man in front of your son, your 13-year-old son. And Eli sitting back, and his eyes closed, and we're holding on. You just got this wee lever thing just goes across the front of you. I mean, there's nothing much to hold on to. We're trying to hold on to whatever we can, and eyes closed, eyes open, and we're freaking out because it keeps going up and up and up. And then it gets to the brow, and it goes down. I don't know what speed it's doing, but you've got this dip, this drop. And before you know it, once we do the drop, my arms are up in the air, and I turn to Eli and say, isn't this great? In fact, I don't even say anything. I just turn and I smile at him. And he turns and he smiles at me, and his arms go up in the air. And he's loving it. He's loving it. And there gets this point in the ride where as he turns to me and he's smiling and his arms is up in the air, he says, you were right. You were right. This is brilliant. Oh, you were right. And all through the ride he said, oh, you were right. You were right, because I told him if you do this, you're going to want to do this again. His arms is up in the air. Oh, you were right. And we get to the very end of the roller coaster, and he says, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You were right. And he puts his arm around my shoulder, and he taps me on, oh, you were right. I want to do it again. I want to do it again. We got a chance, because we were there for 2 days, and we got a chance to go back the next day. And we're queued up. Judah's with us in the queue. In fact, that it was actually later on in the day. It was actually the end of the night. And it was raining. And there's not many people that are queued up. In fact, we were just going to leave because whenever it starts to rain in Spain, it's heavy. And we're thinking, we're going to struggle to get a taxi and going to get back to the hotel. We're going to get drenched. And Eli's like, we spent this money. We came all the way here. And you're just going to go? I want to go to the roller coaster. So I says, right, okay, you know what, you're right, we're here now, we might as well, we're getting wet, we might as well just go up. And we went up and we queued up. Queue wasn't as long, which I think helped, but Judah's on Google. What's the best way to deal with butterflies on a roller coaster? This is honestly, I kid you not, he's on his phone on Google trying to figure out, what can I do to get me on this? One of the things that came up, believe it or not, I don't know if someone put this in as a joke, but I couldn't believe it whenever he said one of the best things to do is to get on the very front of the roller coaster. And so we get up to the front, and he's going through all these things. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I'm expecting him not to get on. He says, it's okay, me and you will get on together, it's okay. And he gets on. Very front row, which I didn't like. I was like, I'm not going to get on. And we're climbing up, and it's pouring down with rain. So whenever you see the second video, it's like being pelted with paintballs, just like you're trying to shield your face. And again, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh no, here we go again, because I don't like the going up part. And Judah's freaking out as well, and two of us grasping on for dear life. And the thing drops. And I'm freaking out because, whenever you're like further back, then you don't see what you see in the front row. On the front row, you see what you're dropping. And it doesn't just drop like that. It actually curls in a bit. And still traumatized to this day. And it dropped. And I'm like, ready for the drop. As soon as it dropped, hands up into the air. I turned to Judah, flicked Judah, come on! Hands up into the air. And he turns to me and says, you were right! You were right! Oh, this is brilliant! This is amazing! Oh, you were right! Oh, why did I not do this before? Why did I wait? Why did I not get on before? The exact two kids with the exact same response. You were right. This is amazing. I want to do this again. He actually went round to get on by himself. Once he'd done it once, he went round to get on by himself. In the rain. God is calling us to get on this roller coaster. And some of us watch and go, no, I don't like the heights. I don't like the drop. I don't like the twists and the turns and the going upside down. And some of us will queue up. Yeah, I can do this. No. God is inviting you to partner with Him in His mission to save the world. God has placed something within every single one of you. He's placed a gift, an ability, a spiritual gift. He has anointed you. He has anointed you to come on this journey with Him, to be a part of it, and to use your gifting and your anointing in the saving of this community and of this city and of this nation. And some of you, you'll not even queue up. You'll just, I'm saved, but I'm just going to sit here with my ice cream and I'm just going to watch everybody else. Some of you queue up and you think, no, it's too much. And some of you get on. And whenever you get on, it's scary. Because you know it's coming. You know that it's going to be difficult. That it's going to be challenging. And at times it's going to, as you twist and as you turn, it's going to batter you. It's going to bruise you. It's going to give you aches and pains. It's going to give you heartache, but you know, while that's coming, it's going to be worth it. And you begin to see results and you begin to see fruit. You begin to reproduce in others. And there's a reproduction of 30-fold or 60-fold or 100-fold. And then you're able to go, yeah, you were right. It was so worth it. It was so worth it. Scary? Absolutely. Worth it? Unbelievably so. Unbelievably so. I wonder, can we be a church that gets on this roller coaster together? A whole line of us on the roller coaster together, hands up in the air. I know some of you will still be holding on for dear life, but at least you're on with us. Because it's so worth it. Will you stand with me, please?